Hello and welcome to this session on Secondary Education Commission. Economic growth and social development of any country is invariably associated with large and sustained investments in education and training. Countries with high economic development are those whose workers are most educated. Historical forces like institutional structures during the colonial period, choice of providers, curriculum decisions, evaluation system, recruitment of educational staffs, financing etc. have largely influenced the policy planning processes and growth trends in education in the developing and low income countries. Education improves an individual's opportunities in the labor market. Education is classified into elementary or primary, secondary and university stages. Secondary education is that which is given after primary education and before university education. The form of secondary education in India before independence was that prescribed by the foreign educationalists. Initially, secondary education was considered a subsidiary to tertiary education, as its primary function was to prepare pupils for higher studies. The decision of curriculum of the secondary education was dominated by the needs of the socially and economically privileged classes of the society of that time. It did not cater to the needs of the general masses. In British India, the East India Company and the subsequent colonial policies in the 19th century promoted new public schools of western learning to serve the higher classes of society, with the hope that the educated elites would promote schooling among the rural masses. As time passed by, the secondary education was more linked to primary than to tertiary education. Around this time, secondary education also underwent structural changes. The form of education in secondary stage was modified after independence and was divided into three groups. From 6th to 8th, it was called junior high school. From 9th to 10th, it was called high school, and 11th and 12th was called higher secondary or intermediate classes. The first 10 years of education provide undifferentiated general education. The higher secondary or senior secondary education provides for differentiation into academic and vocational streams and marks the end of school education. In the context of emerging challenges of human development worldwide, such as conflicts, increasing inequality within and between nations, environment degradation and climate change, pressure to maintain a competitive edge through advancing science education, it is indeed crucial to invest in secondary education. After achieving independence in 1947, the government of India started taking great interest in the field of education. A number of secondary schools came into existence even before the country got its independence, but the quality of education imparted by them was meagre to meet the new challenges and socio-economic needs of the country. As such, the need for reform was strongly in the air. Education also needed a fresh look, calling for a new outlook, which was appropriately voiced by Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, the then education minister, in his presidential address to the Central Advisory Board of Education in 1948. A number of education commissions have surveyed Indian education in the past years. Some of them worth mentioning are the Indian Education Commission of 1882, the University Commission of 1902, Michael Sadler's Calcutta University Commission of 1917, University Education Commission of 1948, etc. All of these commissions basically dealt with certain aspects of college and university education. No commission till then was appointed to exclusively deal with the secondary education in India. The Indian Education Commission was called the Hunter Commission and was appointed to access the position of primary education and make suitable reforms to it. The University Commission, also known as Lord Curzon's educational policy, recommended change in method of teaching in primary schools. It also suggested removing traditionalism in primary education system. The Calcutta University Commission recommended replacement of the then prevailing 10 plus 2 plus 2 education pattern by a 10 plus 2 plus 3 pattern. It also decided to increase the duration of undergraduate courses. The University Education Commission accepted the 10 plus 2 plus 3 education pattern, but added the vocational system of education. This commission had expressed its conviction that a reorganization of secondary education may help in proper development of higher education in India. It quoted thus, "Our secondary education remains the weakest link in our educational machinery and needs urgent reform." The Central Advisory Board of Education in its 14th meeting in 1948 advised the Government of India to constitute a commission to look into the matters of secondary education in the country. Hence, the government appointed the Secondary Education Commission, keeping in mind desirability of change from the prevailing system of secondary education, which was unilateral and predominantly academic in nature. The Secondary Education Commission. The Government of India appointed the Secondary Education Commission under the chairmanship of Dr. A. Lakshmanaswamy Mudaliar on September 23, 1952. The commission is also known as Mudaliar Commission. Dr. Mudaliar was then the Vice Chancellor of the Madras University. The commission was inaugurated on 6th October 1952 and it submitted its report on June 1953. The data for the report was collected on the basis of questionnaires sent to the members of the Constituent Assembly, premiers and ministers of education in the provinces and states, vice chancellors of universities, directors of public instruction, heads of colleges and heads of department in universities, educationists, publicists and other prominent men throughout the country. On the basis of their replies, a good deal of information was collected. The members of the commission took extensive tours throughout the country and acquired first-hand knowledge of the various educational problems and presented its report. The report was a lengthy one containing as many as 311 pages. The terms of references of the Mudaliar Commission was as follows: to inquire into the present position of secondary education in India, to suggest recommendations for the organization and improvement of secondary education in India with particular reference to the following: the aims, organization and content of secondary education, the relation of secondary education to primary, basic and higher education, the interrelation of secondary schools of different types, to suggest an idea for a uniform system of secondary education suited for the needs of the country. According to the Secondary Education Commission, the most outstanding and educationally relevant facts in the Indian situation was lack of national democracy among its citizens, extreme poverty of the country and absence of educational facilities needed for developing all aspects of human personality. In the light of this analysis, the Commission mentioned the main aims of the secondary education in their report. To produce ideal citizens. The Commission was of the opinion that no country will progress without developing national feeling among its citizens. For this, the students of the country should have faith in the greatness and should understand the importance of culture of their country. They should make a self study and analyze their own positive and negative traits with a view to improve their character and personality. To develop capacity for earning money. Another important purpose of secondary education according to the Commission was to help earn enough for maintaining oneself. For this purpose, vocational subjects should be included in the curriculum. Develop quality of leadership. Leadership is an important quality necessary among the citizens of a democratic country. Secondary education should develop in the students the quality of leadership. Develop human virtues. Man being a social animal should know how to cooperate, should know how to keep discipline, humility, love, kindness and brotherhood. These virtues can be inculcated with the help of secondary education among the students. With fast changes happening in the political and social system, it was an urgent requirement to make considerable changes in the pattern of education in India. the Education Commission suggested some useful objectives for the same. Development of democratic citizenship. India being a democratic country, the main aim should be to develop qualities of democratic citizenship among the children. For this, the Commission recommended its citizens should develop qualities like clear thinking, clear speech and writing, true patriotism, tolerance, etc. through the medium of education. Diversification of courses. The government should encourage the establishment of schools like agricultural schools, technical schools, commercial schools, etc. to develop various abilities among the students. Emphasis on agricultural education. The Commission recommended that due recognition should be given to horticulture and animal husbandry. Technical schools. Technical schools should be established in large numbers, which should either be independent or connected with multipurpose schools. Public and residential schools. Residential schools should be established in rural areas. The public schools should be allowed to function for 5 years. Schools for physically disabled children. Large number of schools should be established for handicapped children. Home science for girls. Special provision should be made for girls for study of home sciences. Efforts also should be made to open separate schools for girls. Medium of instruction. The Commission recommended that the medium of instruction in secondary school should either be in mother tongue or regional language. Place of Hindi and English. The study of Hindi should be made compulsory in schools, which will help in promoting national unity in the country. English language should also be given importance. The defects of secondary education have been pointed out by a number of commissions. The Commission was keen in pointing out the main defect of the existing system of education in India. The following were the problems found out by the Commission. The secondary education was too academic and far removed from the problems of life. The education system followed the traditional methods of teaching and followed old curricula. It did not inculcate in the student the habit of thinking and clear expression. The curriculum was narrow and one-sided and thus fails to train the personality of a student. It did not cultivate a sense of moral and social responsibility. Co-curricular activities were neglected and facilities for organizing such activities in secondary schools were limited. English language was given much importance and the students who were good enough in their regional languages could not make the full use of it. The classes were huge in size, which considerably reduced personal contact between the teachers and the people. The examination system was old fashioned and discouraged all spirits of experimentation. The method of teaching generally practiced failed to develop in the students their independence of thought and initiative action. Major recommendations of the Commission. The Commission insisted that secondary education should be a complete stage by itself, since it is the most important stage of entire schooling for students. Among the useful contributions of the Commission regarding the organizational pattern of secondary education and higher education are the following. The secondary education should cover the age group of students of 11 to 17 years and the total duration should be 7 years. Students should be enrolled for secondary education only after 4 or 5 years of primary or junior basic education. The 7 years of secondary education is to be divided into two parts: junior high school stage for 3 years and high school for 4 years. The intermediate classes should be abolished. The 12th class should be attached to the university, whereas the 11th class should be added to the high school. The Commission had recommended the introduction of 3-year degree course. For the students who pass the high school, there should be a provision for a pre-university examination course of 1 year. Public schools should be continued and pattern of education given to them should be brought into reasonable conformity with the general pattern of national education. The Mudaliar Commission pointed out many defects in the then curriculum of the education system. The Commission has emphasized the necessity of reorganizing the secondary school curriculum in order that the aims of education may be realized. It found out that the curriculum was narrow, bookish and theoretical, overcrowded and dominated by examinations. In short, it did not cater to the various needs and capacities of the adolescents. The Commission suggested the following changes in the secondary school curriculum. The curriculum should not only include traditional academic subjects, but all those subjects that exposes the students to all types of experiences. It should be elastic and include varieties of subjects to meet the needs of the various types of pupils and should be adaptable to meet the interests of the students. The curriculum should be related to the community and include community oriented programs. It should include a number of activities designed to train the students not only for work, but also for leisure. The Commission has recommended the language that should be taught to the students in each and every stage of the secondary education system. During the middle school stage, at least 2 languages should be taught. Hindi and English should be introduced only at the end of junior basic stage. At the higher secondary stage, at least 2 languages should be studied. One is the mother tongue and other is the regional language. The medium of instruction should either be in mother tongue or in the regional language. The Commission recommended ways to improve the standard of teaching and suggested to appoint a committee of experts. This committee should make research for finding out ways and means for improving the teaching methods. The Commission also suggested the following. The methods of teaching in secondary school should not only be to impart knowledge, but also inculcate desirable values and proper attitudes. Teaching methods should be made realistic and provide opportunities for students to learn actively and apply their knowledge practically. Students should be given adequate opportunity to work in groups and carry out group projects and activities. Other recommendations of the Commission. Recommendations on selection of textbooks. The Commission found out that the quality of textbooks prescribed for the students in the secondary classes was not satisfactory. There had been no serious effort either by the central or on the state level to produce good quality textbooks. Thus, the Commission recommended that textbooks should be selected on the basis of their merits and utility. For this purpose, the Commission requested for the appointment of a high power committee which will help in selection of books for all the classes. In the opinion of the Commission, the following person should constitute the high power committee for selection of textbooks: a high court judge, a principal of some government educational institution, a member of the Public Service Commission, a vice chancellor of a university, 2 eminent educationalists and the director of education of the state. In addition to textbooks, each school should have some books which may impart general knowledge to students. Recommendations on improving teacher status. The Commission recommended that only trained teachers should be appointed to teach the students of the higher classes. They should be given handsome salary for their work and ability. They should be given pension, provident fund, life insurance benefits for their social security. The retirement age of teachers should be 60 years. Not only this, a separate committee should be appointed to cater to the difficulties of the faculty. Recommendations on health education. All the students should be medically examined at least twice a year. Full medical facilities should be available for ailing students. Recommendations on management and administration of secondary schools. The education director's post should be equivalent to joint secretary of the secretariat and he should advise the minister in this capacity. The secondary education board should be organized under the chairmanship of education director. The state government should organize a committee for management and administration of schools. Both the center and the state committees should give advice on educational matters. It is the responsibility of the district inspector of schools to assist the teachers in performing their duties and solve their problems relating to education. For the purpose of proper training of teachers of secondary education, a board should be established. Recommendations on finance. The Commission recommended that the centre should give financial aid to states for education and the government should not levy tax on goods purchased for education institutions. In conclusion, a national system of education is established firmly on the basic values and traditions which a nation normally clings to. A country's educational system should support its national goal and tries to meet its national objectives. Such a kind of reform was the aim of Mudaliar Commission. The report of the Commission was divided into three parts. The first part dealt with general problems of Indian education. The second part of the report covered different stages and sectors of education. This part focused on the problems of agricultural, vocational, technical and engineering education and those of science education and research and of adult education. The last part of the report dealt with the problems of implementation, namely educational planning and administration and educational finance. The Secondary Education Commission report covered education at all levels from the pre-primary through the secondary to the higher secondary. It highlighted not only the existing defects in the system at each level, but also offered practical suggestion for eradicating them. It was the first serious attempt to examine all aspects of education and thus provided realistic and categorical answers to questions in education. Controversial problems had been examined from all possible angles and definite solutions had been suggested. All the suggestions and recommendations of the report were practical also. Let us summarize what we have discussed so far. Historical forces like institutional structures during the colonial policies, choice of providers, curriculum decisions, evaluation system, recruitment of educational staffs, financing etc. have largely influenced the policy planning processes and growth trends in education in the developing and low income countries. Education is classified into elementary or primary, secondary and university stages. In the context of emerging challenges of human development worldwide, such as conflicts, increasing inequality within and between nations, environmental degradation and climate change, pressures to maintain a competitive edge through advancing science education and capacity to adapt new technology, it is indeed crucial to invest in secondary education. After achieving independence in 1947, the Government of India started taking great interest in the field of education. A number of secondary schools came into existence even before the country got its independence, but the quality of education imparted by them was meagre to meet the new challenges and socio-economic needs of the country. As such, the need for reform was strongly in the air. A number of commissions came forward to make considerable changes in the field of secondary education. One of the most important one is the Secondary Education Commission or the Mudaliar Commission of 1952 under the chairmanship of Dr. A. Lakshmanaswamy Mudaliar. The unit discussed mainly the terms of reference of the commission and its major recommendations. The Secondary Education Commission report covers education at all levels from the pre-primary through the secondary to the higher secondary. It highlights not only the existing defects in the system at each level, but also offers practical suggestions for eradicating them. The report of the commission is divided into three parts. The first part deals with general problems of Indian education. The second part of the report covers different stages and sectors of education. This part focuses on the problems of agricultural, vocational, technical and engineering education and those of science education and research and of adult education. The last part of the report deals with the problems of implementation, namely educational planning and administration and educational finance. Now you can try to answer the questions given here. What are the defects in the educational system found out by the Secondary Education Commission? What are the main recommendations of the Commission with respect to the organizational pattern of education system of the country? What are the recommendations of the Commission on the principle of curriculum construction? Which are the main aims of the secondary education according to the Mudaliar Commission? What was the reason behind the constitution of Secondary Education Commission? Here are a few books for your reference. The Education Commission and After, written by J.P. Naik, published by APH Publishing Corporation, New Delhi in the year 2008. Committees and Commissions in India, Volume 1, 1947-54, written by Virendra Kumar, published by Narang Rai, Concept Publishing Company, 1983. A Comprehensive Study of Education, written by S. Samuel Ravi, published by PHI Learning Private Limited, New Delhi in 2011. Secondary Education, written by D. S. Srivastava and Monica Tomar, published by Isha Books, Delhi in 2005. Hope that you have enjoyed this program. We can meet again with another topic. Till then, take care.